Hello, everyone. Welcome to LOCKBEARD Random Live, number 100, the fraud test. The fraud test. See if we can try not to get kicked off YouTube again for this one, shall we? Saw Mr. Lee was first in here. Welcome, Mr. Lee. Welcome, B. Lynn. The date is October 6th, 2022. Y'all think alike, you say? Almost Friday. Yeah, it's almost Friday. Bat Mom says, good to see you, B. Welcome to Bat Mom. Everything's working real slow. So, yeah. Starting to think this computer is about had it with this bullshit, but we'll see. B. Lynn says, Bat Mom, I'm slowly starting to get back in chats after a rough few months. Random old injuries, some new, flare up. Mr. Lee says, just finished watching the movie Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. It was good. B-Lynn writes, I will be back in a few. All right, B-Lynn, we'll see you. Mr. Lee says, B, it was a long movie, but worth it. Welcome, Mr. Hugh. And Sandra, welcome. Oh, gosh, this thing is jumping, it blanks out. And StreamYard, you gotta fix this nonsense. Make this thing work smoothly, for fuck's sake. B-Lynn says, Sandra, how are you? There's Donald. Welcome, Donald. Is it good? Fixing the exhaust on your car. Awesome. Angel's here. Welcome. Oh, Jesus. More spam. More spam. Angel says, yep, YouTube actually sent a notification. Well, I plugged it in about 30 minutes early, I think. So it got more time to push through than a lot of times it does. B says she's back. Yeah, if I get it shot off a little earlier, I think it helps. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, is it not cold in Oklahoma yet? Your beard not stuck to the window of your van in the morning? No, it's hot out here right now. The computer's not happy. Let me see what it is. It's in the 80s. It's in the 80s, Mr. Lee. Yeah, have a little hiccup. Well, I see it as a hiccup. Maybe it isn't a hiccup until someone gets back to me from Human Resources. So this new job I took. Amongst, every time you start a new employment, you got to fill out a pile of paperwork. Well, amongst all of it, there was this form called a COVID testing consent, COVID testing consent form. which specifically talks about the swab, the nasal swab test. You know, where they shove this damn thing all the way back your head to do for whatever purpose. Who knows what kind of? There's a lot of people saying a lot of stuff about it out there. All I know is nobody's sticking a goddamn swab up in the back of my head. It's just not gonna goddamn happen. So, you know, I sent the message to my trainer who got me in touch with HR. Well, sort of. When I got to the end of the phone line, you know, because I didn't talk to this person who hooked me up, connected me to the right number, and then they did not answer the phone, so I left a message. But I also emailed someone I'd been in contact with through the beginning of the hiring process, who basically said just keep calling him because he isn't really, even though he's in the hire, I guess he's an outside company, I think, it's hiring. So yeah, not a good situation at all. So I don't know. I may be having to go back on the market. I don't know. Because this is some ridiculous bullshit. Hopefully we're still, looks like we're still live. Things are definitely bogged down on StreamYard. I'm gonna get over on the YouTube to see the chat because I'm not seeing the new chats on StreamYard. I'm not seeing them on YouTube either. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get them to pop up. We might have already been slapped down for all I know. Well, now it looks like they're coming through. They're slowly popping through. Hold on a second. Man, this might be the computer. Mr. Lee says we're still here, Lockbeard. Awesome. Oh, did the chat really go quiet for 5 minutes? Because it's showing me 5 minutes on timestamps. Angel says even the Canadian border are dropping the test requirement and don't need a V card anymore. Yeah, that's why I'm hoping that they just stop it because their employees, from what it sounds like, they're employees that were already working there before the false outbreak. And again, I know everyone's, well, I know some of you even here still believe there was an actual outbreak. And for the last 2.5 years, I've been asking everybody, send me proof. I haven't got a single person even try to attempt to prove the existence of the thing. And that's because I'm absolutely certain of it. And no one can find any actual proof because it don't exist. All you have is what the government told you and what the media tells you. So, but anyway, from what I understand, they're employees that were already working there before the false outbreak happened. have not had to fill out this particular form. So I'm hoping that in combination with the fact that things have hopefully settled down, like you're saying, the Canadian borders even dropping the requirement. Hopefully they just drop it and leave me the fuck be, because I hate to tell them, look, you know what you're doing here, because you're forcing the smart people. The you know, I'm not saying people are stupid for not catching on to this. I'm just saying that smart people are far more likely to figure this out, that the entire thing was a fraud. There's multiple indications that it was a fraud, and precisely zero proof. Fuck all for proof has been provided to the public. None. You just have to go on the word of politicians who lie all the time. Lie all the time. Oh, we don't know what UFOs are. Yeah, of course you do, motherfuckers. Don't lie. We know you're lying. You lied for decades, and now you're telling us you don't. Oh well, yeah, we knew they were real, but we don't know what they are. No. For the American people to fall for this shit now, it'd be like, you know, the people that are falling for Rick Dyer's comeback. Oh yeah, I'm the real deal. I'm the greatest Bigfoot hunter ever. Hopefully those people look into this guy, this Rick Dyer moron, this imbecile, this jackass, this clown. Oh shit! Did I use the word clown? I do believe I did. Let's see if I can break the computer now.
Was it like a circus clown or a hobo clown or what?
What's the difference?
Hobo clowns are the most dangerous because they're hungry.
Oh, yeah. Donald says, okay, I'm done. Hi, Sandra. Hello, everybody. Kind of, says Angel Nolan. Mr. Lisa's Lockbeard, we were listening to your story. That's all. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, you know, I need to. I don't want to have to rely on someone like an employer. I would like to be able to work for myself, but it's just not happening yet. Hopefully, it will. Hopefully, I can, you know, something I like to do. I'm sick of doing shit I hate doing. You know, I'm sick of doing shit I hate doing. You know, it's just drudgery day by day. You go in, you just sucks your will to live. Split minute came back weird. Yeah, our chat went out for a little bit there. So it wasn't just me. Must be YouTube linking up its algorithmic AI Nazi bullshit to censor everything they can. Jay Fritz is here. He says, hey, you knuckleheads. Hello, Jay. Welcome. Get that phone figured out, says Donald. Uncle Bones is here. Welcome. Mr. Lee says, speaking. Oh my gosh, this thing. Speaking of knuckleheads, the Cowboys premiere is on an hour. Oh shit, is he having a premiere? Ah, fuck. Sorry, Cowboy. I didn't know you were doing a premiere. Good gosh, this thing is not very responsive at all. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, it's just a test. No zombie juice involved. Mr. Lee, you gotta ask yourself, have you ever heard of a virus before that required them taking a long ass swab and shoving it up in the back of your skull? That's red flag number one. Under no goddamn circumstances. This is absolute ridiculous bullshit. Does it require them to shove something all the way up in your head like that? It's bullshit. I mean, there's a red flag right there. That very first fact, that's a red flag. That this is bullshit, and they're doing something else. Either it's making you submit to a test. They're trying to see how many people will submit to a test. They want to normalize this test. Like they had people in their cars. They want to have you roll up to a police blockade, tilt your head back, and let them shove something into your fucking head. Fuck no. Fuck no, Mr. Lee. That's absolutely ridiculous bullshit. No, this is my body. All these lefty fucks out here, my body, my choice, right? My body, my goddamn choice. Fuck all the way off. You leftist piece of shit, nut job, far left fucks. You will not subject me to any kind of medical testing under any circumstances. I don't care if a real pandemic happens. Yeah, you heard me. It wasn't real. It's fucking bullshit. Prove it. Prove it actually goddamn happened. You fucking far left Nazi ass fucks. You lying ass scumbag pieces of shit. I can't even, there's not even words to express how pissed off. The evil that we're dealing with here. You don't understand. I don't think people understand how fucking evil what's going on is. Like the founding fathers would have done put all these fuckers in the grave. That's what the founding fathers would have done, right? Assuming they are and were exactly what they said they were and stood for. Liberty. The founding fathers would have offed everyone responsible for this. That's what they would have done. And that's just the fucking, I'm just telling you what history, what the founding fathers would have done. I'm not saying, don't try to make me out to be suggesting or supporting anything or infer whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit. But what I'm saying is these people have done such great evil to our society. They've actually killed some people with this goddamn domestic terrorist attack, and that's what this is, a psychological domestic terrorist attack that they've conducted here, and it actually resulted in the deaths of some people. And so every one of these fucks need never see freedom again. They need to go to goddamn jail. They've forfeited their right to any kind of freedom to walk about. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. There will be no parole. You know, and they don't seem to be scared of these consequences that really should happen for these fucks, these evil, disgusting scumbag fucks. That they should go to jail. I mean, because I can only guess is that they feel like their power over us is so secure that they don't believe we could ever overtake them and throw all their asses in the jail and throw away the key. Or worse. No, I'm not submitting to testing. This is what the Nazis would want you to do, and that's what these modern day Nazis want you to do now, is to submit to a test anytime they say. And if at some point they want to use that as a way to go ahead and just kill your ass, how do you know what they're putting on that goddamn swab anyway? Because a lot of people are suggesting that they put something on the swabs and were actually infecting people. You know, like not all of them, but some of the swabs were actually inoculated with something that made people sick. How do you know that that's not happening? What kind of free country is it where you're required to submit to any kind of medical testing like that ever? Period. It's not a free country. we should be fighting at this point. We really should be. We should be fighting. We should be dragging these fucks out of the public buildings. They do not belong there. They're domestic terrorist, criminal traitors against the American people, and they all must be removed. All of them. Tell me I'm going to fucking submit to a test. Goddamn Nazi fucks. It's not going to goddamn happen. It's not going to goddamn happen. So I've gotten through 2.5 years of this fucking ridiculous bullshit without having to be tested for this fucking thing. Now, if they want to do like that, that job I had before, where they used a camera to measure your temperature of your face. Okay, that's not invasive. It's bad enough. I don't want to fucking do it. I shouldn't have to prove what my goddamn body temperature is. That's my business. I mean, we're supposed to have medical, and that's another thing. Like the whole conversation about, are you required to tell your employer the results of the test? And the answer is goddamn no. I think in some states it may be different, but so if I'm not required to tell them the results of the test, why the fuck do they need me to take a test anyway? But no, what I'm saying about this, the intelligent people are more likely to figure out this entire thing is bullshit and resist it based on it's not even true. It's all based on a lie, a huge fraud, and on the basis of fucking liberty. So by having this goddamn shit where you want to test people, you're gonna have people like me who are gonna say, you know what, see ya, I'm the fuck out of here. Possibly one of the best employees you'll ever have, you sent away, and who knows how many dozens there have been. They're talking about how they can't get people to work. Well, maybe this is a part of it. Part of it's people are just getting money for nothing. But part of it is I don't want to participate in this bullshit. I don't want to wear a goddamn mask. I shouldn't have to wear a mask. Even if there is an illness out there, like they're trying to say that, they're protecting the fellow employees. Well, here's a problem with that. Okay, the employee, okay, you're worried that your other employees could get infected with something that you don't know that I even have, because the test isn't 100% right. Elon Musk showed us that. He showed us you could flip a coin and get the same results as the test. Straight up. That was Elon Musk's results. 50-50. So did he have it or not? He took the test 4 times, got 2 positives and 2 negatives. So which is it? So even if the test really did test for this disease, which it don't. But even if it did, it's only right half the time. And there's only 2 answers, yes or no. So it's completely useless. Completely useless. You could flip a coin and get the same results. But that's exactly what their plan was. They knew that it would show up positive for so many people out there because it tests for indicators that could be 1,000 different ailments. It isn't testing for COVID. And then they could just feel their numbers. Oh, this many people tested positive. They did not test positive for your fucking disease, though, you lying ass fuck. The test that you gave them showed positive, but it doesn't test for the fucking thing that you fuckers said was out there. It do not. So, fuck. I don't know I don't know how much more clearly this shit can be said. They do not have a right to give me a test. So what we have a situation is they say that they need to test me to protect the other employee. Well, what about protecting my rights, my body here? My body is under invasion. My rights are I'm supposed to be I'm supposed to be free from Nazi ass shit like this. And so they're going to violate my rights because of something that I might infect somebody with that you can't even prove exists. But you jump to where you just immediately are just going to violate the rights of everybody. No, what kind of goddamn fucking back-ass words logic is that shit right there? It's not logical at all. It's not logical at all. Holy shit, dude. holy shit. This is an extremely evil situation we're in. Donald says, we all know Vault is the best Bigfoot hunter. We all know he has 2 confirmed kills in Washington and 400 rounds that slid off dog, man. Yeah, fucking Vault, man. Jen says, hi, Locker. Chat's been going out on all the shows for a couple weeks. Yeah, it's really bad tonight, but I mean, I've had a problem with StreamYard for a long time where like chat will just blank completely gone for a second or two. And it'll come back, but it just hinders things. Ernie says another kamikaze mission. You talking about me trying to possibly getting banned on here? Hopefully YouTube's got their hands full with all the bullshit that's going on. I mean, you know, they've locked. I mean, as goofy ass as Russell Brand is, they've locked horns with him, and that might not be the best idea. And of course, he's going to join forces with some of the other ones that this has happened to, and that are fighting for free speech. So hopefully, there's enough support there to put an end to this bullshit. You know, and there's a lot of other political winds shifting, or you know, in the social media space, right? Because like Facebook is getting ready to have to lay off 12,000 people or some stupid big number like that, because Facebook is failing, it's falling apart. You know, the younger generation's not really interested in Facebook. They're over on goddamn that ridiculous shit over on TikTok, where Rick Dyer's hanging out. Absolutely, but fucking TikTok isn't doing nothing to help all these assholes ADD. All right, they got ADD, all the fuck, and that's where you go. If you got ADD, you need to go to TikTok, because you can't watch like and of course none of the ADD people are hearing this, because I'm going to be on here for 2 hours probably. So no one with ADD hardly is going to hear this, unless they're doing something else while they're listening or something. So yeah, Facebook is in the process of sinking like the goddamn Titanic. And of course, you've heard about Twitter, and I guess the Elon Musk purchase is going forward. And you know, some people are jump ship beforehand because they're, you know, was into the goddamn world to them. And you know, so we'll see. I think last I heard, Elon Musk is supposed to take over tomorrow. So hopefully he comes in there and he's already got himself a list of people that he's like gonna just say, here's a list, here's 1,000 people, fuck out of here. You're all worthless trash scumbag far left nut jobs, and you need to get the fuck out of here. Let's see here. Chessboard's here. Says hello to everybody. Welcome, Chessboard. Did I say welcome to Ernie? Welcome to Ernie. Sanders says, okay, Lockbeard, okay. Was it getting a little rough? I'm pissed off. Goddamn pissed off. I don't want this shit needs to go away, and people need to listen and start helping, you know, like resist wherever you can. Resist. I ain't saying you need to make a big fucking scene or anything like that. I'm just saying resist, question, resist, look up this stuff that I'm talking about. I'm not making this shit up. Find actual evidence the thing happened, that it existed, right? That there was an actual germ. Like, you can't find it. What you can't find is multiple indications of fraud, right? CDC declaring a pandemic before they even isolated the virus, admitting that they hadn't isolated the virus. So how do you know there's a goddamn virus if you didn't isolate it? And how can you explain that you could not isolate a virus? You've isolated many viruses before. What the fuck? You know, cooking the numbers, cooking the books, you know, telling the hospitals, Don't test the dead. If they cough, just write C19 on their death certificates, and we'll add it to the numbers. Have the news report those numbers, and then scare everyone thinking, "Oh my gosh, all these people died with COVID." No, they did not. They did not. They just wrote. They assumed they had it and wrote it on the death certificates. Thousands of people. They lied about the hospital. Oh, these hospitals, there's people. They're inundated. And then when people went down and checked, which I'm aware of a number of different people that went to the hospitals and checked, and there was precisely dick going on. There was nothing happening. They had their little tents out or whatever, and like some places they had like a tractor trailer, cooled trailer, theoretically to load all the dead bodies in, because oh shit, we're gonna have a full scale. It never happened. It didn't happen. There was no full scale epidemic. It didn't happen. And in fact, they never, as far as I've had a 2.5 years online challenging people to provide me with actual evidence that there was an actual germ, and no one can. How convenient that the threat is something that the average citizen couldn't anyway without some serious scientific training. How convenient that it supposedly originated in China, where none of us can go to investigate that. You know, the same place they sent the metal from the towers, the twin towers. They sent all that scrap metal to dispose of the evidence, right? To get the evidence out of America where American citizens couldn't get to it and see and find the evidence of what really happened there. The twin towers and the third building on that site that went down, Building 7. Anybody hear of Building 7? They don't like talking about Building 7 because Building 7 went down just like the controlled demolition, and nothing goddamn hit that building. Explain that shit. Nothing hit that building. It was on that site too, and it went down. Why is this being left out? Because inside job. Goddamn fact. It's the only way to explain that shit. Building falls and nothing goddamn hit it. The only way that happens is someone rigged it. And if they rigged that one, there's 2 more that went down right there. The planes hitting them was just the excuse for why they went down. That's not why they went down. If you're buying into that, are they starting up again? Who's that? I thought they ended that stuff. I haven't had to do any of that for a while. You mean the chat thing? I don't know. It's never stopped for me. It's gone on forever. I'm not taking the zombie tests. Mr. Lee. Yeah, I mean, weren't they doing, I think it was in China, weren't they doing like an anal swab? Bend over, we're going to shove something in your ass too. If these lefties get their way, that's where we're going to go. You're gonna be forced to get tested for this fake virus that don't exist, right? And to make sure that you're not homophobic, you're gonna have to bend over and take a dick in the ass. Prove you're not homophobic. That's the only way. You gotta take that penis probe. Excuse my French. But that's what some of them actually, because that's what their thoughts are on these far lefties, right? If you turn down a trans woman, for example, they claim you're transphobic. If you're a man and you turn down a gay man, asking you out, they believe that makes you homophobic. And they want that idea to be normalized. They want everyone in society to feel the same way. Maybe I'm not turning the dude down because I'm homophobic. Maybe I'm turning him down because he's ugly. Oh, wait a minute. Is that some kind of phobe too? Is that some kind of isterphobe too? Am I an ugliest or an ugly phobe? Holy shit. I mean, where does this goddamn shit end? Spelled differently. Miss Lee says, I told you if you pour orange juice on test, it shows positive. Yeah, the test doesn't test for the germ that they claim it does. It tests for indicators. So find out what the like. There was one of these countries. I can't remember which country it was. They were like getting positive tests off of like kiwi fruit or some shit like that, avocados or something. It's because it doesn't test for the virus. That's the thing that got people screwed up on, because people might say, well, I tested positive for it. Yeah, but the test doesn't test for that. It don't. They just call it that. They just tell you that so that you just buy into it and believe them. No, you didn't test positive for the virus. The test that you took showed positive. It's bullshit. Yeah, one guy tested a goat and a piece of fruit. Both tested positive. Yeah. It's probably on some of the swabs. Who knows? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Some people were saying they actually were inoculating some of the swabs of something so that a certain percentage of people that took the test would actually come down with something that would kill them. So if that's true, they literally murdered some citizens. Straight up just murdered some citizens, because some percentage, no matter what illnesses is, there's some percentage that die, right? No matter, some percentage of people that get flu every year die. It's just a goddamn reality. You can't get around it. There's just a certain percentage who can't handle the flu anymore. Like their immune systems become depressed to the point they're old, and so they just can't do it. Those numbers were thrown right on top of the C19 numbers and called C19, by the way. That was one of the controversies and indications of actual fraud in this whole thing, is that they didn't even count those. And we covered that before a long time ago, where they threw those flu numbers onto the C19 numbers. It says, "See, look at all these people. We got ourselves an epidemic on our hands." No, we did not. There is no goddamn evidence for that. There's lots of things that indicate you fucking perpetrated that as a fraud, though. You can't explain, maybe 2 or 3 of these things you can explain away, but not all of them. I don't even know. There's so many things that indicate fraud. It's ridiculous. They fucking committed a domestic terrorist act upon the people. That's what they did. They murdered some of our people. These assholes, these politicians are traitors. The rich people that are paying them to do this shit, they are enemies of our nation. If they're not citizens and traitors here, then they're enemies of our nation. And if they're not citizens, anyone who was not a citizen in the United States that was part of this, that makes you an enemy, basically an enemy combatant. You committed an act of war, which means if we get a good president this next time around, and he says we're going to drone strike every one of those assholes, the non-citizens that perpetrated this domestic terrorist act on American citizens, if he said we're going to drone strike those fuckers, I'd be like, yes. Those are enemies of the nation. Those are enemy combatants. They committed an act of war on the people of America, and they all deserve to be blown completely the fuck up. Now, citizens, we get it. They get their day in court here, but found guilty, they need to go to jail for the rest of their life. But I have a feeling that there's a lot of Americans that once they come to terms with and realize that what actually happened this last 2.5 years, they're going to be calling for heads to roll. I mean, seriously, they're going to be like, these assholes literally murdered some of our people. They committed a massive act of psychological domestic terror. And there needs to be serious consequences for that. I'm falling way behind in the chat, so I'm gonna try and move fast and get up. And new phone lost nothing, single stuff. Donald says, "What's your opinion on employee drug tests? Those they shouldn't do that either. If you come to work and you are exhibiting odd behavior that doesn't appear like it looks like you're high, okay, I can give you that. But if you've given no indication that you're on anything, then they should leave you the fuck alone until there is an indication that you now, like in some employers I've had, if you had an accident, they would drug test you to make sure. But there's a lot of people out there, I mean, truck drivers, cranked out of their mind. Only way they're getting their shit done because of the ridiculous rules and the fucking logbooks. And I tried that for about 5 goddamn minutes, and I was like, this is goddamn ridiculous. How do they expect anyone to function like this? Oh, I found out they're popping pills. Not all of them, but a lot of them, they're popping pills and shit. But yeah, if there's not a problem, if you can't see a problem, like they're doing their job and they're functioning fine, then you should leave them alone. As far as employee drug test. Chessboard says government getting generous. Mr. Lee says Jay getting the swing of it. I thought just my internet did it on Joe's show the other night. Jay says at least I know how to get on internet and call someone. The Bad Mom says I think drug testing at jobs is fine. If I ran a company that potentially could cause harm to a person isn't paying attention, then I definitely wouldn't want someone high putting others at harm. Yeah, it's just that part of the problem with this is that it set that level of precedence here, and then when the pandemic happened, then they just automatically assume, well, we can go up to here, and then at some point, like, it's a slippery slope. It's a very slippery slope. So I think we need to set very specific and undeniable, like, this is our right. We have a right to be secure in our person and our property and not be accused of something we have not done. That there is no, like, when an officer approaches you, there's supposed to be probable cause. Well, these employers are approaching me, basically accusing me of potential drug use without probable cause. So to me, that's wrong. They should not at all touch me and ask me to piss in the cup and subject to this demeaning bullshit, cutting hair off my goddamn head. Fuck that. No. If you see something that you think that you can can reasonably say, like, you can stand in court and say under oath that yes, it appeared to me that he was high or drunk or something, then you can test me. But it should only be under those circumstances where you're going to be willing to go to court over the issue. You better be able to show, at least say under oath that you saw actual indications of some kind of use of some kind of substance. Otherwise, leave me the hell alone. They're trying to get us used to submitting to testing of all kinds of shit. And this drug testing thing is part of what allowed them to get away with this bullshit with the virus testing thing. And that's why the drug testing thing is kind of on my shit list now, more than it was before. It's because it got us on that slippery slope, and now what? Here I am, someone who has never touched an illegal drug in my life, and I don't drink at all, not these days for sure. Getting drug tested every so often. I'm like, what? Get the fuck away from me. No. Miss Lee says Rick Dyer in fuck it, Thailand, worst place to go in Thailand, full of dirty of dirty old men, awful place. Yeah, that's well. It sounds like right where he needs to be. Dirty old men, right? This damn chat thing is not being responsive worth a shit. So I'm just going to read through some of Angel YouTube. Jay says if companies did drug testing in Florida, they wouldn't have any employees. Yeah, Jay. I mean, that's part of the issue. Like a lot of people are functioning fine. You know, what we think of it ethically is beside the point. The point is that it's just a ridiculous ball of nonsense that just needs to be kind of left alone until you have a problem with the employee. Now you got probable cause. Now we can talk about, testing them. Donald says, I agree. But Mama always wondered how the last company I worked for, they all passed their testing. Everyone there were coke hounds and operating forklifts after tipping back beers at lunch. Yeah, and that's another thing. There's a lot of people that they know how to get some urine and blah blah blah. And the test, unless you watch the piss come out the end of your wee wee, Donald, they don't know that that's your piss. So it's useless anyway. The real drug users know how to bypass this shit. So I wouldn't even know how to begin, but I don't need to. I've never used anything like that. Jen says, Jay, look up the user manual on your phone. It will walk you through the talking about the J. Donald says Rick Dyer enjoyed them girly men, Mr. Lee. He probably did. He probably because it in Thailand, hot spot for what do they call them, lady boys or whatever, she males. Donald says Rick Dyer enjoyed the girly men. Yeah, I already read that. Damn it! Why did it? Angel said, why did many hospitals lay off workers if they were at max capacity? Yeah. There was also a whole issue where a lot of nurses were choosing to quit their job rather than take an injection. Might tell you something. That might tell you something. Should land on our feet. That mom says, dude, the Ronas was so 2 years ago. It's exhausted out, bro. If Rona was a song, it would have been played out. I agree. So why am I being asked to sign a C-19 testing consent form? That's why I brought it up now, because one, I'm not signing. I'm not giving consent. They need to understand like who they're dealing with. Like they're not going to dick me around with some bullshit. Like I'm real. You want to get some work done? Let's get some goddamn work done. But you're not going to look. This paperwork is ridiculous anyway. All the shit you got to fill out to work in America. What happened a day where you just walked up to a place, say, hey, can I work here? And you're like, yeah, there's a shovel. Paperwork. Government come along. You need to fill out this tax forms. Employer way back in the day, they probably told the government, said, get the fuck out of here. These guys can't even read and write. Get the fuck out of here. Why do you get their money? You're not their slave owner, are you? Why would you get part of the worker's output unless you were the slave owner of that person? Are these workers slaves? Is that why the government's keeping a portion of our output? Because that's the only way you can justify taking a portion of someone's goddamn income. You can say, oh, playing your part. No, fuck you and your part. Do we need to play clips from Atlas Shrugged again? Do we need to play clips from Atlas Shrugged again? Goddamn government bullshit. Jay says, can I borrow somebody's 5-year-old to help me with this phone? Yeah, that'll probably help you. How much soda did you drink, Lucky? You're hyped up. No soda. I've had some caffeine today, but had a half pound of pulled pork and a half pound of cheese on it and a couple of pork ribs. Chessboard says, Jen, he doesn't know what RTFM means. Uncle Bones says, Bet Mom, I think Job wants to test Lock to get the job. Well, they've already, given me the job offer. I've already accepted, but no one mentioned there was going to be a COVID test. Didn't test for the last one. Well, they want me to consent to a test. They're not saying that there will definitely be one. That's a problem because, at some point, maybe I should just roll with it. Just sign the consent form, go to work, and if they try to swab my ass, I'll walk the fuck out. So look, I'm out. Send me a check for what time I spent here training for not to work. About my stomach, so do you drink Lock? Yeah, I already read that one. Damn it. That's the problem with not highlighting them, is I can't. Initially, he says, "Oh my God, ain't no one probing me." Did you not get? Did you? I mean, it sounded like maybe you'd gotten one of those tests, Mr. Lee. You didn't got one of those tests. Those shoved the fucking long ass swab all the way back to your brain. Most men won't read the manual, says Jen. Stay still, chat. It's jerking around and shit. Damn it. StreamYard, fix your shit. The Batmom says, well, you get tested, it's positive, and you can't start for 5 whole days. What's the problem? You need money or not? I want some decent income. But allowing myself to be violated is not on the menu. Sorry. Do I have to burn everything I got, shut everything down, say fuck it, and just go out in the woods and wait to fucking die? Is that what I need to goddamn do? Because that seems to be what the government's trying to drive me to. I can't function under these circumstances. The government should have immediately said, first thing, that it's a violation of a U.S. citizen's right to require them to get a medical procedure to work. I mean, what do they want me to do next? Get a colonoscopy? You're going to shove a camera up my ass, make sure everything looks great before I can come to work? Now, get the fuck out of this. You cannot do invasive procedures. 23-year-old helped me with mine, says Angel to Jay. Jesper says, Lock, the word experimental should ring a bell. Yeah, experimental. Yes. If it'll pop up. Maybe it'll pop up. We'll see. Angel says they inflated numbers. At one time, any hospital trip was tested. Trauma and died, but tested plus. Guess what killed them? Same with heart attacks. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, yeah, it's just they inflated the numbers. They straight up lied about how many, because they took those numbers because it was on the CDC website. I wish I had screenshot it so I could show everyone now, because I read it 3 times. Completely unscientific bullshit on the CDC website. It said, they told the hospitals, if someone shows up and they got some of these symptoms that we say is COVID, then you can write COVID on the death certificate without testing the body, without testing the person, right? You never tested them for COVID. And of course, we already talked about how the COVID test doesn't test for COVID. It does not. So YouTube, fuck off. It doesn't. That's a fact. Everyone knows it's a goddamn fact. Well, not everyone, but everyone should know. So these people without a confirmed diagnosis with symptoms that they say is COVID, but could be 100 other ailments over here. From flu all the way up to radiation poisoning, which we've talked about a little bit about radiation. They don't want you to know about that. Telecommunications industry does not want you to know about that. That a lot of people are getting sick from this number, G. Absolute goddamn fact. G. It's making people sick. and it's a type of radiation poisoning, right? It's going to cause some cancers. It's causing some mental dysfunction, and causes a positive on that test that we're talking about. Squash Talking Serious says, "What are we talking about?" Well, I might have to walk if they try to make me take a nasal swab test. I'm going to have to tell them to fuck off. I'm going to have to go find work somewhere else. It's released to truck drivers. They take pills. Yep, some I know do anyway. Yeah, it's a major thing. Like if people and they're driving, 60,000 pounds plus down the goddamn road, man. How's that going on? But they're worried about people flipping burgers and shit. I don't know about you, but I really don't give a fuck if the guy flipping my burger is on meth. That's his business. Is it affecting my burger in any way? Is he more attentive as he cooks my burger because he's on meth? And in which case, why don't we require meth? I mean, goddamn it. Q-tips with the nose, yeah. Miss Lisa's Miss Pat, we're talking about you again. We're not talking about Pat, but we can if Pat wants to be talked about. Manual reading. He says employee drug tests are a liability thing. It depends on the job, but a forklift driver shouldn't be high or drunk. No, they should not. Absolutely, they should not. I'm just saying that if they haven't shown any indication that they are high, then in America we need to err on the side of liberty. And but we got to protect the right. We got to protect the right of the employee. And so if an employer is going to make the accusation and get you tested and threaten your employment, then they need to be prepared to defend that action in court. Testing me without probable cause is a problem. It's a problem for me. I don't like it. Even though I've never used any of that shit in my life. Not once, never tried it. But what I do like to use is my goddamn liberty. And I don't like anything that threatens my liberty. I don't want to get on that slippery slope because then we end up with the last 2.5 years of bullshit. Pat, this one individual was drinking every day. I was at the plant. You could smell it on him. Even asked one of the guys that I knew wouldn't stab me in the back. Chessport says, "Was the pilot high at the controls?" Donald says, he said everyone is aware of it, but they don't dare say a thing. The guy that's drinking. Flyby Stu's here. Welcome. Squatch Talk says wrong. Real drug testing is hard to beat. You mean you're talking about like hair test and blood test? Yeah, I'm talking about the urinalysis. Jen says, I think they stopped testing new hires for marijuana at my job, but that is a maybe. Maybe. Well, they know that's a losing battle. I think they know that. That mom says you can get the fake pee from smoke shops or head shops. That's crazy. That mom says the pee works. Pat, are you talking about? He's probably talking about hair follicle tests. Like, I've had to do hair follicle tests. And I don't want people cutting my goddamn hair. That's too fucking invasive. Do you have reason to believe that I'm on drugs? Do you have probable cause to make an accusation that I've committed a goddamn crime? Because that's what it is, right? You're accusing me of using illegal drugs. Well, that should be something you have to defend in court, and you need to have a actual reason to make the accusation. So, how this plays out. How do we make this to change things to be more in line with American liberty, while still protecting the employer adequately? Pat saying liability and stuff like that, but Mr. Lee says I ate ribeye with fried chestnut mushrooms and horseradish sauce. First big meal in days. Fly by Stu says evening, Jen. Donald says I guess if we don't have taxes, we could go back to riding horses and say screw our infrastructure. Well, I think we could still have infrastructure. Well, look at like how they do it in Georgia, which Pat might be more familiar because I just vaguely know about this. But in Georgia, like getting it like all of your highway, your whole road system or whatever, or at least like major highways, I think. And I think education. I think they're paying. Someone's got to correct me. I'm probably getting the particulars wrong. Anyway, it's paid for by the casinos. The state's deal with the casinos is that they can have casinos as long as they pay for this shit. So now you got roads, and even like the taxes for the road. Like in Oklahoma, the fuel is like double taxed. Well, that's where your roads get paid for is from the fuel tax. So I don't have anything to do with my income tax. What I'm saying is my income should be off limits because whoever is taking the profit off of my income like that and leaving me enough to live on, basically, whoever's taking that money is a slave master. They didn't end slavery in America. They enslaved everybody. But see, they're trying to force you to pay taxes. So they tax you here, they tax you there, they tax you at every step, everything you do, every transaction, fee this, tax that, and so you can't escape taxation. You're totally enslaved to the system. So let's say you decide, well, I don't want to pay the fuel tax. They don't keep the roads up good at all, which is usually the case. I'm hitting a pothole all the damn time. They're shitty roads, and they're not spending all that money where they're supposed to. Some of it's getting shoved in somewhere it ain't supposed to be. Some of it's getting misappropriated. So say I don't want to pay for that bullshit. Well, maybe I get me an electric car, and I throw a bunch of solar panels on top of my roof, and I produce enough electricity to keep my car charged. So I don't have to use any of their bullshit. Well, they don't want that because you done stepped all the way the fuck out of their system. So yeah, infrastructure. That mom says they don't actually put the swab back that far. I don't want them putting a swab anywhere near me. They can take their swab and shove it up their own ass. That mom says violated is when you are not asked before they violate you. Yeah, I get that, but the problem is if I need income, and the only way I can get income is by agreeing to have them stick something in some orifice somewhere. That's under duress. That's some kind of violation of our liberty. I'm being forced to agree to an illegal search of my body, a violation of my constitutional rights, straight up. And that's why I'm telling them I'm not going to fucking do it. So hopefully they realize they're done with a real goddamn American here. Squatch says, dude, you're light years behind in chat. 6 people in chat. You have to skip and keep up, man. I'm trying, Pat. And Mr. Lee's talking about swab down his pee hole. Man, no one needs to talk about that, Mr. Lee. About mom says, yeah, and that's probably why. After Thailand, Mr. Lee was after Thailand. Uncle Bone says. Donald says, Mr. Lee, that's for STDs, man. What have you been doing? Yeah, Mr. Lee, you probably don't want to talk about that. Uncle Bone says before that. Fly by Sue says, if it don't kill you, it will sterilize you first for fuck that shit, says Fly by Stu. Yeah, I don't know what they're putting on them swabs, and I don't know what's in the needle. So neither one of them's getting anywhere near me. They can fuck all the way off with that shit. Mr. Lee says, Donald, swimming and bow-legged women. Squatch Talk says, dude, you're entering into a private agreement, which is freedom and liberty on both sides. If they want to test and you want to job, then it's all fair. Yeah, but if the system is set up to where the only way I can get any job is if I agree to some of these testing, we got a problem. They are shutting me out of the right to be able to work. They got all the employers jumping on board. We have a problem here. I mean, we can call it a private agreement all day long, but at the end of the day, no, this there's something wrong here, where a man cannot work unless he submits himself to Nazi probes. So we got a problem. We got a problem. Squash Talk says piss talk tests are hard to beat. Mr. Lee says Mr. Pat knows. Pat says there are no casinos in Georgia. Maybe I was misunderstood. Maybe I'm again. I might have my maybe I'm on the wrong state or something. I don't know. Lotto, and some of that goes to ED grants, but none of it to roads. Maybe I'm thinking of a different state. There was some state where that was what was going on, something to that effect. Because the casinos wanted to make sure people could, they having good roads gets people to the casino, and it's good PR. People, every time they see a road, they think about, well, the casinos pay for these roads. You know what? I'm going to go to the casino. And like when I worked at a casino here in Oklahoma, like people show up all the time and say, they just say it as soon as they jumped in the shuttle, because I was a shuttle driver. That they were going to go. They're getting ready to go in and pay the Indians, or they'd say something like, "I'm going and spend my kid's inheritance." So yeah, Pat corrected me on that. Again, I might be thinking of the wrong state or something like that, but maybe it was a lotto I was thinking of or something like that. Maybe the wherever the information came from was a little bit modified. So it looks like part of it goes to education, at least there, but none to the roads. Donald says our state lottery funds schools, but it's not enough to pay the bill. Chessboard says who or what funding schooling before lotteries or casinos? What? Who or what funded schoolings before lotteries or casinos? Mr. Lee says to Mr. Pat. Damn it, this thing is. I'm clicking on it, and nothing's goddamn happening. Am I at least coming through all right? I feel like the video is probably jacked up, and maybe even the sound, because it looks it's jacked up on my end. And the chat's not, like, it took forever for that to pop up for me. Now maybe you saw it pop up, but I didn't see shit until like just now. Mr. Lee says, Mr. Pat, I bet there are secret casinos. Yeah, there's that shit happens everywhere. That shit happens everywhere. There's always secret gambling. It's like when they were trying to make it illegal to do, cockfights. That shit still happened. There were still cockfights. Squatch Talk says, Mr. Lee, there sure are, and I've been to a few back in the day. Yeah. Yeah. Anything like that, you make illegals, like, or restrict it in any way. The black market's going to make it happen. Fine. Kind of fuzzy. The fan on the computer's running full blast because it's too goddamn hot out here for the computer. It's always like that. Yeah, there's always black market. Like I was reading some articles sometime back about how the about dry counties in some of these states where they have a few counties that are dry. They don't let you sell liquor, so a lot of people drive outside the county and get it anyway. But some people are getting it in the county through black market liquor trade. And as a result, those people are getting exposed to people who are willing to break the law in that manner and also have access to other substances. And so the result is that when you make your county a dry county, it increases the amount of drug use of illegal drugs in that county because people get exposed to those people that have it, and then shit happens. If you have to buy your liquor from a guy who's got some meth and cocaine and some mushrooms and a few other, selections, you basically took everyone, because the vast majority of people drinking beer are not going anywhere near, in most places, are not going anywhere near someone that has, some meth on them. They're going to a liquor store, and there's nothing but liquor in there. There's no meth in there. But in these dry counties, you end up with a significantly higher number of people interacting with people that have meth because they want liquor and they're having to go to these people to get liquor, and shit happens. So the statistics were showing increased illegal drug use because a county was a dry county. That's why you got to be very, very, very selective about shit that you make illegal, because everything, without fail, everything you make illegal has a black market. Everything. You want someone offed? There's a black market for that. I mean, the goddamn is. There's like you can make arrangements. You want to? We were using the word violation. You want to violate someone? There are people who can arrange that situation for you. Very dark, evil fucks. But there's a black market for that. Human trafficking. It's black market. It's illegal as fuck. It's unethical as fuck. But there's a black market for it. So when they make laws against something like meth and waste tons of our money and time chasing down people on meth who are just fucking up their own lives and nobody else. Now, as soon as they fuck with someone else, that's a different story. But go after them for what they did to this other citizen. Don't go after them because they put a substance in their body and made a choice for themselves personally. That should be their business in America. But so we're wasting time chasing people for that shit when there are still children being trafficked in America. I think we need to reallocate those resources back to stopping human trafficking of kids and not worry so much about goddamn meth. In fact, you should just legalize meth and end the black market of meth altogether. Because every time you make a drug illegal, it just makes the problem worse. I mean, that's an objective fact. It makes the problem worse. You throw it into the black market where you can't really control shit. If it's legal, look at cigarettes. They can control the fuck out of cigarettes. Look at alcohol. They control the fuck out of alcohol. There's still some illicit use going on, some black market, but it's mostly gone because there's just not that much profit in it because it's legal. It's regulated, but it's legal. Well, I didn't know he was going to premiere. It's not live though, so you know what I mean. It's not live, So I'll catch him on the replay. I'd planned on going till 7 or almost to 7. Michelle says, I'm thankful for black markets cheap. Troy says, that's how, shit. That's how politicians make money, have a dark market. Exactly. You got to, because, if I know this and you know this, the politicians damn sure know this. So you got to ask whose palms are getting greased to keep these substances illegal. Because the bad characters, those really bad guys out there that are making tons of money off all these illegal drugs, they don't want it legalized because then they won't be able to make a ton of money on it anymore. I mean, it's a real simple thing. You just get this substance and you sell it to people and don't get caught. And make tons of money. They can't really do that with tobacco because tobacco is legalized, regulated, but legalized. Anyone can get it at any corner store. Same for alcohol. It's really hard for black market to make a lot of money on those kind of substances because they're legal. Anyone can possess. Anyone over the legal age can possess them and purchase it at a store under regulated conditions and so on. But still, it's available legally. You did say it out loud, and you were absolutely correct. The politicians are making money off of these illegal substances. Guaranteed. Chessport says, LOCKBEARD reporting new highs for tax collection every quarter since CVID, and the infrastructure schools, ABC, are going to hell. Where is this money going? Exactly. I mean, people bring up infrastructure all the time about taxes. You got to pay your share, blah, blah. No, you guys don't understand. They're letting a lot of the infrastructure go to shit, and they give you just enough to shut most people up and to keep things rolling, and the rest of the money goes down that black hole. So yeah, some serious corruption. So when they say there's this great reset going on, it's kind of scary. What is the shape of this thing going to be when it's all over? What's our future look like after this is all over? Tracy Bena is here. Welcome. She says, hello, Yin's people. Uncle Bones posted the link to Cowboy starting. Yeah, if anybody wants to go over, it's a premiere. I didn't know he was going to be having a premiere, but usually I keep track of lives on the TV guide, but it's a premiere, so it's not a live. It's a premiere, but you can chat in the premiere. So I understand if you guys want to jump over there, though. Tracy Benson, people are buying less BS will continue until the Fuhrer is gone. Yeah. Like the Rothschild, Soros, Bill Gates. Yeah, these people are all evil criminals. Should all be stuffed in a cell for the rest of their lives. You want to know where some of that money went? Yeah. Confiscate their assets for the public good. But you gotta watch out then, because then the people in control of the confiscation, probably some of them are going to probably stuff in their pockets. Squash Talk says, "Who wants to play chess? You play chess, Lock?" I used to a long time ago. I haven't played chess in a very long time. Chessboard says, Uncle Bones, Pig Lucy said, send the illegals to Florida. They need fruit pickers. Do they now? Tracy Bennett says cigarettes are getting too expensive, especially in the blue and swing states. Yeah, I don't know what their deal is. Like, they keep cranking the price up on them. You know, for any good or service, there's a curve. You know, and they figure out like how high a price can we charge before the number of purchases drops enough that the profit goes away. You know, starts to go away. Cigarettes being addictive, at least to most people. They can probably raise that price pretty damn high. I mean, the part where it's gonna fall off is where people don't have the ability to earn enough money to pay. But people, you know, at some point, a lot of people are probably gonna be willing to turn off the electricity so they can have cigarettes. I mean, I say, well, because y'all know, like I was using those nicotine lozenges for a while. You know, they're supposed to be a nootropic, give you a mental boost. I can't say that I really noticed anything spectacular from them, and there was some kind of feeling from them at first, but it went away. Whatever people said that was the buzz or whatever the fuck that was. Anyway, basically useless, and so I dropped them, you know, cold turkey without any kind of problem at all. So either this whole idea that nicotine is highly addictive is bullshit, or I am simply individually completely immune to any addictive effects of nicotine, or it isn't the nicotine at all that's really the issue. Maybe it's mildly addictive. So people who have addictive personalities are more likely to get addicted to the nicotine if they're just using it strictly by itself. But because in the lozenges, it's just the nicotine. It's not all the other crap that's in cigarettes and tobacco. So perhaps we're looking at a situation where other shit into tobacco or additives that were put into tobacco make it more addictive. Maybe either the additives are addictive in and of themselves, or they interact with the nicotine to make it more addictive. Whatever the case is, all I know is I put down nicotine without any problem at all, and so I'm not buying the, because someone said to me, they got mad, whoever it was, that nicotine's the most addictive substance there is. Well, I'm going to call bullshit on that, because the most addictive substance there is probably going to addict everybody, and nicotine did not addict me at all. There was no withdrawal effects whatsoever. I just saw no purpose in continuing to try it and put it down and walked away, and no problem. Where was I? Tracy says AOC was pissed off about the illegal immigrants being, yeah, they've been really jacking with them about that. Man, this thing is taking forever to pop up. Donald says, our Squatch America. Yeah. Actually, that's part of the reason why I was going to try and make sure to get off by 7. That way, everyone that wants to can jump over to Squatch America, because they will be live at 7, or they're supposed to be. And then, of course, everybody goes to Mogs at 8. Squatch America is only on for an hour. Then Footcast from Vermont thought we had something legit, but a big nothing burger. Yeah. Tracy Bennett says Mark Dice has a book about the Illuminati. Donald says, Pat, where'd the chat go? Jesus Christ. StreamYard. Fix this goddamn shit. Donald says, Pat, I used to kill at chess, but it's been a while. Helpful in that situation, says Uncle. Chessboard says Tracy Bennett AOC was asked what she thought about Roe versus Wade. She replied, That's the only two ways to cross the Rio Grande. Did she really say that? Is that? I mean, Squatch says Pat says Donald. Okay, a bit rusty. Tracy Bennett says AOC came from a very conservative family. Donald says, Pat, let me shake off the rest. We can square off sometime. Mr. Lee says, Mr. Pat, will Trish make another appearance for Halloween? Hope. Donald says we can hope. Tracy says I cut back from 2 packs to 1 pack. Pat says I don't know, Mr. Lee. We don't know if Trish is going to be there for Halloween or wherever. I assume Nikki's. She's a real looker. Tracy Bennett says, No, I did not smoke. Tracy, what it was like, I'm always looking into things that might be a nootropic, something that boosts the brain. And nicotine is supposed to have some effects in that regard. I did a lot of reading and learning about nicotine to determine if I was at any risk for addiction if I gave it a try. I'd never tried it before in my life. Never tried smoking or dipping or anything like that. At least not that I recall. Anyway, I became satisfied that I would be able to try nicotine without any problem because the information I found showed that nicotine isn't actually very addictive at all. And sure as shit, that was my experience with it. It had zero addictive effects that I could discern. Other than I was used to popping a mint in my mouth all the time, and then I just kind of, I noticed, the lack of mint, but I couldn't use the mints anymore anyway. At some point, like I found one, I had one left somewhere, like a couple months later, and I tried it, and I only got it down to about half its size, I think, or not even that, and I spit it out because I just something was wrong. And they're sweetened with that aspartame shit, and the aspartame jacks me up. It's gotten to the point where I don't think I can safely ever touch aspartame again. I don't know if I got just so super saturated with it, like it was making my head go numb. Like if I had like Red Bulls, sugar-free Red Bulls, they're sweetened with aspartame. No. Bad news. But no, I never smoked. Never tried smoking. Lockbeard, they load up the cigs with that more nicotine. I mean, it could be the case. Like I was using there's 2 milligram and 4 milligram, I think it is, and I was using the 4 milligram. LM says, buy native smokes, folks. Listening. Pat says nicotine is extremely addictive, but not for everyone in the world in that way. Oddly, but yeah, it is. Maybe it is extremely addictive for some individuals. I don't know. I think a lot of things when people they don't really acknowledge enough that sometimes it's a personality issue that makes people addicted to something that's really nothing chemically at all. For some, but yeah, I think caffeine, because if you're counting like, can everyone get addicted to caffeine? Caffeine might beat out nicotine in this regard, without actually seeing any actual numbers, though. Admittedly, Chessword says Tracy has smoked for 50+ years and quit March 20th, 2020. Cold turkey. If I can, anyone can. No withdrawals. Tracy says, I have an addictive personality. I stay clear of nicotine, pain pills. Unfortunately, I had to get on Suboxone. Raptor Crazy's here. Welcome. L says, not encouraging anyone to smoke. If you're going to, though, native cigarettes are much cleaner, natural, and way less expensive. I wonder if L works at an Indian smoke shop. Sounds like a commercial. But do proceed. Carry on. Tracy Bennett says, the smoke American spirit. Donald says, Lockbeard, did you try the what extends pills they were marketing that did nothing to improve your PP size? Oh, Mr. Lee or Donald, I wouldn't want to do that. That would cause the Earth is a globe, but flat earthers think that that on a globe down is this way instead of towards the center from constantly different vectors wherever you are on the surface of the planet. Down is towards the center. But the flat earthers don't understand that concept, like it's too complicated geometry for them. So they think down is towards the south. And that's why they always ask, why does the water stay on? Why doesn't the water run off the earth? Well, if we use the flat earth understanding of the globe model, if I used an extends pill, it would cause the earth to tilt. The earth is already struggling under the massive effort as it is to maintain a stable orbit and rotation. So yeah, it'd be it for the good of humanity. I should never try. Already very adequate. Jen says, unfortunately, most sugar-free drinks use that aspartame crap. Yeah, and if they're not using aspartame, they're using sucralose, which has its own long list of side effects. Some of which I've definitely had issues with as well. Tracy says caffeine is very addictive. I cut back on that too. Chessboard says I save over $2,000 a year since I quit. Pat says no, dude. Nicotine is physically addictive for most, not some. You're wrong 100%. Well, I mean, like I said, I don't know the exact numbers. I'm just saying that if it's not 100% to the people that are physically addictive. Otherwise, it's not physically addictive to 100% of the people, because that didn't happen to me, and there's other people that have had similar experiences. So yeah, it may be physically addicted to some, but I mean, again, I haven't actually looked at any of the science on it. And then there's the question is how good was the science? Because a lot of times people point to stuff and call it studies, and it actually was not a study, not a real study. Professor Bart K. Actually, I'll pull up a clip of Bart K. because he's always fun to see. He's a carnivore advocate, right? And because people always say it's a bunch of studies show this or that, trying to advocate for vegan diets, and the reality is there's no actual studies. There are none, because it's unethical to do those kind of studies on humans. What they have is a bunch of epidemiological nonsense, which is basically just they gave people a questionnaire and expected them to be able to properly remember what they ate and to be fully honest with, and they were not observed and kept under controlled conditions. There was no study. There's never been unless you count some of the shit the Nazis did, as far as actual studies on humans. So all I'm saying is I don't know. I haven't actually looked at the science on nicotine. It's not worth my time to actually analyze any of the studies and determine are the actual studies, how reliable was their research. And Donald says, Tracy, do you get crazy worked out dreams on Chantrex? Tracy says, I agree with Pat. All additives. Uncle Bone says 50%, not 100. Tracy says, Donald, I have always had crazy dreams, dream all the time. Jen says, Tracy, those American spirits, very popular, black and yellow packs, seem the biggest sellers where I used to work. Try and catch up here. Don't want to get behind again, at least not as far as it was. Chase Squatch Talk says, not some, it's a high percentage, not debatable, dude. Tracy says, I used to drink a lot, sometimes 2 6-packs and shots. When I got pregnant with my son, I stopped. I hated those blackouts. Uncle Bone says, okay, 51%. Well, I mean, the reality is I don't think any of us actually know and why there's no reason to argue over the exact percentage. I mean, the fact is some people definitely do not get physically addicted. I am living proof of that right here. What percentage? I wasn't trying to make a hard stance on what percentage. Okay, I really wasn't. So there's no reason to have a thing on it. Unless y'all want to start looking at some actual studies, which that's very tedious. I don't know if anyone really wants to sit and analyze a study in a live stream. For one, to properly do it, we would not have time. We would be here all goddamn night, and even then, we're going to be dealing with situations where people don't understand some of the methodology employed or some of the scientific concepts. Even some of the terminology is going to be a complete loss for some people. So they're not going to understand what we're reading, and we're just reading the research, right? We're not doing research. We're reading the research. That's the one thing that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. People say, "Oh, well, I was researching." No, you weren't researching shit. Somebody else researched some shit, and you read their research. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. So, yeah, I haven't ever researched anything. I've read other people's research. Chessworth says, Tracy, I smoked Winston for years and switched to Marlboro. When they went to $4 a pack, I switched to USA Red Box when they went to Best for You. And the prices are going to keep going up, though. Mr. Lee, you still in here, right? Mr. Lee, you need to look at Professor Barkay. He's a little bit of an odd fella, but and he's a little hard on people, but people need to. Oh man, you can't even see his credentials here. I can't see him at all on there. As you can see, when I stuck that in the background, he was premiering just when we started. Certainly over now, but anyway, today he's tearing up one person, but today he had a whole bunch of people. He's going through one after another, just reaming some ass about their dietary advice, and basically it all amounts to is you have all these doctors who talk about nutrition as if they know shit about nutrition, and they didn't actually study nutrition. They studied medicine. They studied the art of practicing on you, being a doctor, diagnosing you with some kind of illness, poking and prodding you to figure what that is, and then prescribing you a medication or start cutting on you, because that always helps. We're going to poison you, or we're going to cut on you. Or if you get the wrong cancer, we're going to irradiate your ass. This is some really dark age shit if you think about it. But anyway, This is one of the people he was reaming on today. I don't remember. I think it shows this guy's real name here in a little bit. But Professor Bart K, if anybody's not understanding what he's calling this guy, he's calling him a cock splatter. Cock splatter.
Okay, so here's Cum Splatter, who is also not trained in nutrition
My bad,
at
cum
all.
splatter.
Clearly, because he thinks the solution to a disease which is characterized by elevated blood glucose, the way to deal with that is to pour ever more carbohydrates, which cause you to have an overplus of glucose. No, Cum Splatter. That's not the answer. That's ridiculous. Also, this is a boy that can't control his own A1C, let alone tell anybody else how to control theirs. But let's hear it, Cum Splatter, because it's always amusing from you.
We have many clients that come to the Mastering Diabetes program.
Yes, and so what? There are many people who will subscribe to all sorts of things and pay good money to be lied to by idiots like you, Cum Splatter. Another paragon of health, clearly.
Who have adopted a ketogenic diet for sometimes months, up to years. So they're eating
They did it wrong, probably, Cum Splatter.
a low carbohydrate diet because they've been told that carbohydrates are their enemy.
That's because they are, Cum Splatter. If you have a disease where you have an overplus of carbohydrate in your blood, toxic, contraindicated carbohydrates, the last thing you should do is pour more of those down your neck, because your exact dietary requirement for those carbohydrates, Cum Splatter, is none. If you understood that, you might be able to get your own A1C down below 6. That's not a win, son. Okay, that's not good at all. You want your A1C 4.5 and below, ideally.
The more carbohydrate they're going to eat, the more insulin they're going to need. So as a result of that, they're eating lots of meats, cheeses, fish, some dairy products, and they're using oils. And
there's the problem. There's the problem there. They did it wrong. Never, ever consume oils. Ever, boys and girls.
what they're able to do is actually maintain their blood glucose very flatline. So
Goodness me, that's tragic. You don't want that going on, do you? If your disease process is characterized by being unable to do that. Fuck me.
So from a blood glucose perspective, it gives them excellent control.
There you go.
The problem, though, is that over the course of time, they end up developing a whole host of side effects.
What are those, Cum Splatter?
And these side effects include high cholesterol.
That's not a problem. We've covered that.
Hypertension.
No. Not at all. 27 years.
They increase their base level of insulin resistance, which is the underlying...
Insulin resistance is a construct and a concept. It's not a physiological parameter. There is no piece of kit that can measure it. There's no company that makes an insulin resistance meter, Cum Splatter.
I should clarify a couple of things he said there. One thing was, I'm forgetting one of them, but one of them is that he said never ever use oils. Now, what he means is seed oils, corn oil, soybean oil, cottonseed oil, any kind of plant derived oil. He's not talking about animal fats. Animal fats are actually top of the line health foods. What you believed your whole life spinach was, animal fats actually are. It's so completely opposite of what the government's been telling you that it's just goddamn ridiculous. Humans are designed to eat a lot of animal fat. So I don't know. I keep jumping back and forth on it as far as what I've been eating. I seem to be able to shift back and forth with less of the, because there's if you haven't done it ever, like the first time you do it, there's going to be some adaptation issues for most people. Not everybody has problems with it though. You should try to do it gradually because it'll just make things easier on you if you do. But you got to be consistent about your changes. You know, if you were eating 50% animal and 50% plant foods, you know, this week, you know, go to 55-45 next week, and then 60-40 the next week, and just gradually work up to 100% animal products, and then stay there for a couple of months, and you will see. You may not believe, you don't believe now. Many of you still don't believe now, but you will see. Now, from what I've been doing, which is wrong, because I keep, every time I eat something, foods with carbs in it, because usually I'm eating once a day. I still pretty much only eat once a day because I've gotten my body adapted to that. So the problem is I hit a buffet and I eat a ton of food. So if I go off the reservation, I'm eating a lot of carbs in one sitting, and then I have pretty serious effects as a result of that. But I can go jump back and forth and have very little. My system's just kind of gotten used to this abusive situation, but jump right back into carnivore and I'm doing great pretty much. But I really need to stay there. Yesterday I ate pretty strict keto. Today it was strict carnivore. Hunger is just completely gone. Eat all the fat. Eat all the fat you can. But when he said avoid oils, he meant oils that come from plants. Every oil that comes from plants has some kinds of toxins in it that you don't want to be exposed to. And he explains a little bit about this on his channel somewhere. I don't remember where exactly. Where he talks about how it takes years to get those oils out of your system. So you're undoing the damage from eating this shit is going to take a long time. But if you give it an honest try, you will be because Papa Craig went keto. He didn't even go full carnivore. He would be better off if he went full carnivore. But he at least went keto. And his symptoms of diabetes, from what he said, are pretty much fucking gone. They had him on some medication or whatever, no more. I had a friend a few years ago. He was trying, but he couldn't. I think his addiction to the carbs was too high, and he ended up going and getting on the whatever that's. I'm losing words again. That shit they give you when your blood sugar gets too goddamn high. And so, unfortunately, he's sitting there taking a medication, and he's still, eating shit, and he's, he could die. He could die. Let's watch a little bit more of this.
So, go and get a clue about what you're talking about. Any clue at all, and stop pouring carbohydrates down your neck.
Condition in diabetes. So they actually end up depositing more lipid or more fat inside of their muscle tissue and inside of their liver tissue.
So, if you base your diet on lipid, that's the storage form of energy. And having some available locally within some of your cells outside of your adipose tissue is not necessarily a bad thing.
A lot of these people have a difficult time thinking. They get sort of foggy.
Do they, Comes-Planet, have a problem thinking? Like people who, for example, can't understand that if you have a disease characterized and indeed diagnosed by having an overplus of glucose in the blood, that you should pour substances into your body exogenously, which will cause you to produce more and more glucose in your blood. That kind of thinking problem comes splatter. Is that the kind you're talking about?
Brain, they get digestive problems.
No, they don't. No. False.
And they lose a ton of energy.
No. We've just seen some high energy presenters here on this very spiel from a bunch of people, none of whom are expert in nutrition. Haven't we?
But then we transition them to a plant-based diet that's especially low in fat. It's a low-fat, plant-based whole food diet.
Yeah, which is destitute in nutrition for human beings. Absolutely fucking destitute comes splatter.
Right? And they see tremendous results.
No, they don't come splatter. You think tremendous results are getting your A1C down to 6. That's not a win, son. That's not an A1C that's under control. That tells us you do not have the knowledge to help anybody with their A1C. You can't control your own. You also express that I know about at least half a dozen very serious autoimmune dysfunctions, one of which will eventually kill you for sure. Through either direct result or sequelae from that. And I'm talking about your type 1 diabetes there. Okay? It is not normal or natural for a human being to have that many autoimmune dysfunctions. It's almost as if you've lived a lifestyle, come splatter, that has led your body to rebel against the toxic load, the poisons, the non-food, the nonsense that you've done to your body. It's almost as if it's a judgment from on high, if there was such a thing. It's incredible. And yet you feel yourself remotely competent to tell others how to look after their A1C when you can't fucking look after your own.
Yep. So, yeah, a lot of people is like, well, this guy, of course, this doctor that he's talking about here isn't a fat doctor, but there's a lot of fat doctors out there trying to tell people how to look after their health, and you look at them and think, well, if you know so much, how come you don't maintain, your health yourself? Now, this guy's preaching animal or plant-based diet and stuff like that, and he looks like he's going to he looks like a skeleton. I mean, this guy in the upper right corner there looks like hell. Well, Mr. Lee put Bart K's channel link in the chat, so you guys should check that out. If you're interested in fixing, I gotta be careful how I word it. Like if you listen to this guy, you will make a lot of diseases go plumb the fuck away, just gone. Some things won't entirely necessarily because the damage is hard to reverse or maybe irreversible, but you can at least make the symptoms go away. Like some cases of diabetes, you may be able to get the symptoms to completely go away and get your ass off of medications, but you may not be able to fully reverse the damage. In some cases, at least, anyway. Some cases maybe you can, some cases no. But there just needs to be more information on that. I can't say that for any of that for absolute fact, other than just like Papa Craig saw his blood sugar leveled out, my blood sugar leveled out when I switched to zero carb diet. Because, where'd that the blood sugar readings you get, where's that blood sugar come from? Well, your body, humans are designed to produce the exact amount of blood sugar that you need. That's what humans are designed to do. Humans aren't like fucking hummingbirds or something. We're not supposed to get an exogenous source of sugars. We produce our own. So when you eat some from the outside all the time like we do, on a very rare occasion you can handle it. But if you do it all the time like we do chronically, you break your physiology. Shit starts breaking down and fucking up. Diabetes, cancer, autoimmune issues, all kinds of shit from these foods. Mr. Lee says olive oil is the best. No, Mr. Lee, you got to get rid of the olive oil. If you're going to fry in some oil, fry in some animal fat. Tracy says, I avoid palm oil. Those palm oil plantations are bad for the orangutan population. Yeah, and again, it's just, it's just not something we need to use. I mean, if you think about it, if there's, like I figured it up. Once I figured out how much less, because like I've said before, I was tracking what I was eating. I was weighing everything out and documenting it meticulously. What I was eating, how much it weighed, the whole 9 yards, what its macronutrient composition was. I knew exactly what I was taking in. Trying to control the situation, right? But in the process, I was getting more serious about going down rabbit holes and looking into various things. And I figured out, I needed to do keto and eventually go fully carnivorous. And what I saw is that my appetite dropped so much that my food intake dropped to under 33% of what I ate before. I know 2/3 of the amount of food I was eating before, I didn't need anymore. I was completely satiated. I wasn't hungry. Fatty red meat, like it's the optimum nutrition for the human animal. Your body knows when you're getting what you want. And so that's part of the reason why the hunger goes the fuck away. Your body's no longer telling you, look, keep eating, because your body doesn't know how to, it has a hard time telling you specifically what to eat. And you're out there addicted to carbs. And so you keep eating potato chips and shit instead of just eating meat like your body wants you to do. And people think, well, okay, I kind of eat meat and carbs. No, because the plants interfere with the absorption of proper nutrition from the meat. And it creates all, because you got different systems of energy, And again, you can learn about that with Professor Bart Kay's channel. He does talk about this, how you can either use fat or carbs, but not both. When you mix the two, you run into all kinds of physiological fuck shit. It's bad. It's a bad deal. You shouldn't do it. I mean, if you want optimal health, you shouldn't do it. And of course, some people might take that to mean, well, okay, then I can be a carbivore, right? I can eat carbs. No, because then you're eating a diet that is pretty much plant-based or largely plant-based. And so you're taking in all these toxins and you're not getting adequate nutrition ever. You cannot eat a strictly plant diet and get all your nutrition. You can't. It's not goddamn possible. That's why you watch vegans slowly wither away. Their body is just struggling to live, and they start turning into goddamn skeletons half the time. Unless they're one of those dirty vegans that sits there and eats Oreos and says, well, Oreo's vegan. It is vegan, I think. And Mr. Lee and his olive oil. What the hell? Angel says, Donald, I go 4 bags. Raptor says, Donald, just saying, get a carton. Kind of skipping along. Trying to catch up in y'all in the chat. Altona. Oh man, you guys talking some serious smokes. Mr. Lee says, I don't want to eat out ever again. I think someone tried poisoning. Who? Mr. Lee? Did they try to poison Mr. Lee? Yeah, bacon grease is a perfectly good grease. I mean, optimally you want to raise your own or hunt some from the wild that haven't been fiddled with, you don't really want to have a heavy corn-fed hog. You just want a hog that's been out there in nature doing and hasn't been exposed to antibiotics or growth hormones or any kind of bullshit. Emma Johnson's here. Welcome. Can't explain it, Mr. Lee. Chessboard says, Reps are crazy. Yes, best salad in the world. 1 leaf of lettuce and a pound of bacon. I don't know how much bacon. Like when I hit because they have breakfast items on the weekends at this buffet down here is Golden Corral, and I'll get me a big pile of bacon. I don't know if I eat a full pound of bacon, but I eat a bunch of bacon, and there is no lettuce involved. There's just a pile of fucking bacon. And I'll get me some fried eggs, and then I try to get there about 10:30. That way they shift over to lunch, and then they start making steaks, so I can have steaks too. I'm still irritated about that though, because I can't have both steaks and eggs in front of me at the same time unless I let my eggs go cold, waiting on the steaks to start cooking. Damn you, Golden Corral. But anyway, yeah. Pound of bacon, just squirt a little mayonnaise on it or some shit. I don't know. Bam. Salad. Bacon grease is good for you, yes. Mr. Lee he did show up on Mogs that night. He didn't say much. We need to get him talking. Just checking. Thanks everyone the chance to use a little bit of bacon grease when you do popcorn. Yeah, cook your popcorn with bacon grease. You shouldn't eat the popcorn though. The popcorn's bad for you. Bacon's getting expensive. Yeah. That's why more people need to get into hunting wild hogs. There's plenty of wild hogs out there. Like we can't run out of meat. Like any dumbasses that try to say there's not enough meat to feed everybody, man, they're full of shit. They are absolutely full of shit. This land is capable of supporting way more meat than what we're growing on it because we're doing it wrong. We're fucking it up, and we're doing all this monocrop agriculture. So we're abusing the land to grow plant foods when we should just let it go fallow, let it turn into normal pasture, and put cows and deer and hogs and hell, even maybe some camels and some buffalo. And like camels used to be in America, by the way. They were bigger than the ones that exist out there. So like Australia, like what we should do is say, hey, Australia, we want to restore some of the Ice Age fauna or the pre-Ice Age fauna. Well, before 13,000 years ago, we had camels. The camels that are elsewhere in the world, they originated here. We actually talked about that day, that time we looked at all the megafauna. Hopefully y'all remember that. And Joe brought this up on his show too about the camels recently. Anyway, Australia is not supposed to have camels, and camels are down there fucking some shit up. So we need to make a little deal with Australia. Say, hey, look, we want camels. You need to get rid of camels. Just ship all them bitches over here. And then we can start hunting camels or using them for beasts of burden if we want to, or just let some of them be wild or whatever, and partially restore the megafauna of the United States. And what we will see, I guarantee what we'll see is if we don't interfere, the camels will gradually start to get bigger and bigger because they're supposed to be bigger. And it will take time. It'll take a long time, but it will happen. Hopefully humanity's around some multi-generational observation of these animals in nature, and we'll see it. But anyway, plenty of meat. Like Australia, they got millions of camels running around the desert that aren't even supposed to be there. If they just start eating those, they're never going to run out of meat. They got cows. They damn sure need to kill all the damn rabbits, but they're never going to be able to get rid of all the damn rabbits. But they need to kill them. Chase Bennett says, Mr. Lee, I'm an animal lover, but I'm not the type to protest over farm animals that hunted meat. Those people are nuts. They are the same people that do not value a human life. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, it don't make any sense. Like, you don't value human life, but you value an animal life, like, as if it's human. Like, you should value human life. It's weird. And reality is most people that eat meat do not want their animals to suffer. And if they looked at how animals die in the wild from being hunted naturally by wolves or coyotes or lions and tigers, shit like that, a lot of times those animals, if you watch watch your nature documentaries, those animals have a kind of a prolonged, kind of a rough death. Humans are the very, very best about humanely putting down animals that they're going to eat compared to just about anything in nature, or a lot of things in nature. So I don't know what they're complaining about. I don't know what those crazy vegans are complaining about. They just lost their damn mind. Kids flipped out because of Roe v. Wade was overturned. Look, the left needs to understand. They kept pushing and pushing and pushing, kept getting more extreme and more extreme, and now there's a blowback. What they think was going to happen? They think that we were going to keep bending over backwards to placate them. That we're going to keep just humoring their bullshit, their nonsense. We got 87 fucking genders, and all this ridiculous woke nonsense going on. And you were thinking that the conservative side of things wasn't going to start pushing back? Well, you got it, motherfuckers, and it's probably only going to get worse from here. Now, I, as a libertarian, am going to sit back and just watch this as if it's fucking, World Wrestling Federation or some shit, because I don't even care about that shit. But I'm just saying, it's just all I can do is watch it as entertainment. As the two sides of far right and far left just keep on fucking with each other. Clean out, tuber trim. I wouldn't mind some camels. Not the cigarette kind, the animal kind. Price of meat before she eat the petri dish. No way, not eating the petri. I'll start hunting before I eat the petri dish stuff. Put some bacon grease in and bacon in with the green beans. Yeah, it's the only way. If you're gonna eat green beans, cook it with some bacon. I've made a few batches of green beans where the amount of bacon and the amount of green beans was half and half. Expensive chicken is getting, yeah. If anything, I think my dad got one of my great grandmother had years ago. Let me see. Give me just a minute. Pull up another carnivore. This guy is an actual doctor. There's a whole bunch of them. Like, at some point, I kind of been putting together like a thing for sometime in the future to kind of talk about a bunch of different carnivores, mostly doctors, so that are carnivore. But this is the one that I've watched his stuff for a long time. Like, he was one of the first ones, I think, that was a carnivore doctor. Trying to figure out what would be a good. How about this one? Why not? I don't remember exactly what's in this video, but it's just him talking about stuff. Damn. It's Dr. Sean Baker. Man, one place? Damn, Mr. Lee. I don't know. I don't think I could pick one place. Emotional damage. The woman has to live with every day waking. Yeah, that's just one of the issues. Hopefully we just let like that particular issue. Like hopefully we just let women fight that. You know, not that I don't think men. I think men should have some kind of say in the matter, but it's just easier to let women fight over that. It's just a ridiculous concept that somehow a species can say one of the two genders just doesn't have any goddamn say in the matter whatsoever of the reproduction of the goddamn species. That's absolutely laughable and ridiculous. That being said, I'm just going to sit back and watch. Can't eat greasy food. For some reason, instantly? Well, it takes time. You got to ease up on it. It takes a while for your system to adapt, Mr. Donald.
You get jacked without carbohydrates? So that's an interesting question. There's a new systematic review looking at that and answering that question. And I'll just put my perspective in here. This is a photo from me yesterday in the gym. Now I am soon to be 56 years of age. I'll turn 56 on January 10th, so about 3 months away. I am not using any carbohydrates, have not had any significant carbohydrates in my diet for approximately 6 years. And, you know, this is me at 245 pounds. Now, I'm not a bodybuilder. People point out, well, your biceps aren't big enough or what, you know, on and on. I'm not a bodybuilder, but I carry a decent amount of lean muscle mass. And I do this in absence of carbohydrates. Additionally, from a performance standpoint, you know, at least on the rowing machine, I'm ranked #1 in the world. So there's a performance aspect there as well. But let's look at the science of this stuff. And so this new study was produced by Menno Henselman, who some of you guys may know. He's very active in the world of performance, body composition, and so on and so forth. But his study is called The Effect of Carbohydrate Intake on Strength and Resistance.
Oops, I did it again. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, Mr. Lee, I know. I did it again. This is StreamYard's fault. Their fucking system is it ain't right. One of these days I need to hunt somebody down at StreamYard and say, look, there's some problems with your shit. But yeah, check out those two channels, Sean MD, Sean Baker MD, and Bart K. So oh my, Lockbeard says Donald. Breakfast sandwich and hotcakes. All right, y'all. Squatch America's probably already starting, so I'm gonna head over there. Hopefully, see some of you over there. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you Saturday night for LOCKBEARD Phenomena. Take it easy.